Sorry about that, guys. Once again, my camera decided it was time to take a siesta. So I put new batteries in it, and I'm going to pick up where I left off. We just cut the peaks on our accordion fold that goes in the center of our birdhouse. Oh, at this time, too, you might want to check and see if you got all your peaks cut, because I noticed back here that some of the peaks didn't make it all the way to the peak. So we're going to trim those up and just peak them. The object here is just to get a point on it, so it's going to be close no matter what you do. There we go. Okay, now the next step will be to decide, do you want a peak also on the cover wrap? Do you want just to cut straight off the cover wrap, cut an inch off the cover wrap like I've done on this one here, where the peaks are only on the inside, and I just came down an inch and just cut an inch all the way across the cover wrap? Or do you want to peak the cover wrap like on this one and this one? So let's go ahead and peak the cover wrap, because that's the hardest thing to do. Let's go with the hardest, and then you can just get easier from there. So we're going to use the same method to peak the front and back of this as we did for the accordion. We're going to mark the center, and this is where the center is going to be a little off, because this section here and the back section's 3 1/4. So if you don't like math and you don't want to find 3 1/4, just go to the 3-inch mark and put an 1/8 on each side of your inch, your end inches, okay? And then mark right smack in the middle. So use whatever method you want. Technically, the center of this would be 1.625. Okay? And then do the same thing and come down an inch on each side. And on this, be sure and come down an inch on the fold. And there we've got our cover marked. So again, we're going to cut, and if you feel more comfortable, draw a line. You don't have to just shoot like I shoot. Just aim for it, hold your breath, and pray. That's my method. But you could draw a line if you want. Just remember to erase your lines. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the back. Going to mark the center of the top. And then we're going to come down an inch on each side. Trying to rush here in case my camera decides to take another siesta. Going to make the cut. Start at the peak, come down, shoot for that mark. Same thing this direction. Shoot for that mark. And then we're going to come straight across on these side pieces and cut those off. Same thing here. Let's just shoot for it. Now let's measure. Let's be right. Mark your 1-inch mark here and come straight across. There we go. Now we have got a peaked wrap, okay? And people have asked me, what's this little flap for here? Well, this little flap keeps your front from going down, dipping down. It's kind of a buffer for the front. And also, as you fill the accordions, it gives you a little gap space in case you need it. You probably won't need it, because if you look, when we're going to put the accordion in next, you've got a lot of space inside of your book. I hope this shows up. To add photographs, journaling spots, embellishments. I wouldn't go too thick though. If you think that you're going to use a lot of puffy things inside, you might want to increase your sides here, and because you've got some extra room to work with on this front fold over there, where you still can maintain a slight fold over but increase the sides. You just shift all your measurements down. But let's not get into that now. Let's go ahead and get this centered. And all you do now is decide, do I want it opening this direction? Or do I want it opening this direction with the pinky lavendery side? And I definitely want this. When I open my book, I want this design facing up. So we're going to tape the back. Well, before you tape, you really should ink. It's easier to ink before you tape. So I definitely want to ink because I want to see if I can get rid of that white spot there. And I'm going to go ahead and use a sponge. You can use your, what do you call it? Your felt pieces. I just don't want to go get them. And if you see, this vintage photo ink is covering up that white nicely. So I'm not going to trim this at all. And I'm also not going to have you sit there and watch me do this. So if I can just get this bottom done, we're going to go ahead and assemble. Because technically you can go back in and ink at any point in time. Just a little easier to do it at this stage. So that looks good. I'm going to go with that. So we're going to put tape on the back now of our accordion stack. Yeah, I try to do it without picking up my ATG gun, but sometimes I don't get that close to the edge. If you are an edge writer, where a lot of times your tape goes over the edge, just put it up to light and fold it all back. Just make sure you don't have any tape hanging out. And we're going to center it right in the back here. And I center bottom side to side. And hopefully the peaks will end up where they're supposed to be. And there you go. We've got that part done. So the only thing left to do really is to get some of your pieces that you have cut off. Get some of your scraps. Get your 1-inch hole punch. Stick it down in there and punch you a 1-inch circle to kind of simulate a hole. And before I attach that, I'm going to ink it up. But there's your whole piece. And then what I'm going to do is use string on this one and use 15 inches. Seems to be pretty good. Find the center of your string, and I'm going to stretch this out flat. I'm going to put some glue where I'm going to put my string, because this quick dry scotch is going to dry clear, and I won't have to really put a covering over the string if I don't want. I'm going to come up 1 inch from the bottom. Get out of my way, scissors. Thank you very much. I'm going to come up 1 inch because I know the brad's 1 inch up. And just make a little mark where I want to run my glue. And these pencil marks, be sure and erase them after you're all done. You won't have to erase this one because it'll be covered up with string. But run you just a little bit of glue. Come on, try not to be so heavy-handed now, although the string will soak most of it up, so got a better chance of not having a mess. There's my center. Going to put it right in there. And again, this glue will dry clear, so I'm not really worried about it being on top and bottom of the string. Just worrying about getting it straight. But another thing you can do too with these other pieces you have left over is you can cut you another circle, or you can cut you a little rectangle to cover that up, or it could be another decorating area where you just you know, can put a series of flowers, whatever you want. I'm just going to leave it for right now because I really don't mind the string just being there. And it's starting to dry. And this glue, it's starting to dry. This glue will hold really well. And once we put our little hole on, this book is basically done. You just wrap around the brad to secure it. Or you could tie a ribbon. You could use ribbon on this. You could use yarn, whatever you have lying around, lace. I just wouldn't get too thick because it is going to go behind the brad. Okay? Let me go ahead and finish this up, and then I'll show you some of the others that I've done to give you an idea, because you can make these, like I said, different sizes. I think they would be cute all lined up in a row on a shelf somewhere. And you could do one for every month and actually make them little journaling books. On the accordion pages, you could put journaling lines on them instead of photographs. And you could have a whole year's worth of little birdhouses. So there's that. I am going to come back in and ink all these edges, but that gives you an idea. This one is an asymmetrical one that I made because I had this piece of paper that I really liked the bird. So I only cut peak on one side, which gives it a little bit different feeling. But this shows you that if you cut the peak down this side too, you could have all these lined up on a bookshelf somewhere and have a whole little village, different sizes. What this one was I cut just two 6x12s out of one sheet of paper. So the inside doesn't really have a very big accordion on it, but that's okay. This still gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 places for photographs. You could put your wallet size in here. I wouldn't, you could probably go with a 4x6 if you trimmed it down and peeked the picture. It depends on how the photograph, everybody in the photograph was staged. Or you could just put pictures of birds in it. This has a bling. I didn't even put a hole on this one. I just put a big blingy brad that, I don't know if that shows up, but it's black with a lot of facets in it. And I did this because I wanted to preserve this bird. I didn't want to chop it all up. And I think you've seen this one that I did, pretty much the way that I've done this one. I did one out of orange polka dots. I love this. And this was another mind's eye brad. And I just cut 1 inch off all the way around the top of the wrap and just have the peaks popping up. I like that. And this also, when you cut the 1 inch off, you're going to have more scrap papers to work with. So I just put a piece of scrap across the back on that one. And I also doubled my string on this one. And this one here, I made the same way that I did the one today, except I didn't put a hole on it. I just did a little bit of polka dot ribbon, a little brad on it that says love, and it's got all the peaks on it. This ribbon is very stiff, so I might caution you that if you're going to use grosgrain ribbon, can't even talk, you might want to use a bigger brad. This brad's kind of small, really, for this ribbon that I used, but I'm going to work with it a little bit and get it to do what I want to do. And the great thing about this is Actually, it took me probably 20 minutes to show you how to make it. But once you know how to make it and you don't talk as much as I do, you can whip these out in 10 minutes. So you can have a whole ton of them. Yeah, I know, you've seen these. But now I've got a whole bunch of them ready to go if I needed a little mini album, a little journaling book, a little anything for a gift. And you could make, say it's 10 minutes, you could make 6 of these in an hour. And just have a little stockpile of them in case you needed to grab a hostess gift or something. And I think they would be really cute, again, as journaling spots. Put little journaling, and I was going to show you how I make my lazy journaling spots. I use a piece of chipboard. My easy journaling spots, use a piece of chipboard and just ink up one side of it. And cut my paper any size that I want, and you can cut this any size that you want. So if you got a big page, you can just, that one's dried, so let's see if we can get some ink on it. Well, let me demonstrate with a smaller one. That's silly. I've got them all different sizes. So I've got them ready to fill up any size that we have. Let's use this little one because get it to work faster. So I like these because they don't do a solid line. They just give you a hint of a journaling line, and if you get a big blank in the middle like I'm getting there, you actually can move these over. So those are the journaling lines you see in a lot of my books because I just like it that way. Maybe I shouldn't be trying it on the crack of the table. Yeah, there we go. Do not make a journaling line on the crack in the table. Hint, hint. Okay, so I think it would be cute just to go in and do journaling lines, maybe on those accordions. And another idea that I thought of the other day that I'm going to try is make one of these out of just a cover wrap, a decorated cover wrap out of my scraps, but the accordions, I'm going to do those out of just a basic, like vanilla cardstock, and I think they would be cute for your kids to draw in, and it would be a record of, have them sign and date it, and they could draw birds, they could draw whatever they want. This could be your house instead of a birdhouse. You could put a little door on the front and windows, so this can really go all kinds of different directions. And those are just some of the ideas that I had, so I hope you enjoyed this one.